What's going on, everybody? My name is Brian Nails, and welcome to the Domain. And as you guys know, this week, for those who may not know, oh man, sorry, I'm horrible at holding this camera. This week is Gen Con week. Gen Con returns to downtown Indianapolis, and as someone who has been reviewing conventions for almost a decade, I have some thoughts about Gen Con coming back, and for those who maybe follow me on social media, you might know that I'm already planning on not going to Gen Con this year. I know that's pretty big because I've been to pretty much every single Gen Con since 2003 in Indianapolis. And I'm going to tell you my reasons why I'm not attending Gen Con and reasons why I don't think Gen Con should happen. I'm not here to tell you to not go to Gen Con. I want to make that very clear. This is not a video trying to tell people don't go. Everybody's allowed to make their own decisions. We're all adults here, but here's my reasons why I'm not going and why I just don't think that Gen Con should really happen this year. So, first and foremost, as y'all know, Gen Con is the nation's biggest tabletop and role-playing game convention. I'm a big fan of Gen Con. I go every year, and I love to go and review Gen Con. I love to be around those people. Those are my people. The people that go to Gen Con are my people, nerds. I love them. And I love discovering new games and trying new games, meeting new people, and enjoying experiences, new experiences especially, when it comes to gaming with others I don't know, and not just people from Indiana, but from all across the country, and some of which all across the world. However, there's this thing called the pandemic, called COVID, that's been going around now for almost 2 years here, and last year Gen Con had to make the decision, which was a smart decision, to cancel their convention, which was the very first time in the convention's entire history that it's had to cancel. And of course, everybody in the convention scene looked towards conventions like Gen Con and San Diego Comic-Con, Wizard World, some of the biggest conventions in North America when it came to canceling. All those conventions did cancel. Some of them went, digital. They went to being virtual, rather. I know Gen Con did a little virtual thing. PopCon, a convention in Indy, did a virtual convention. I know SDCC has, GalaxyCon has, and several other conventions went virtual last year. Some of them worked out pretty well, while others kind of wasn't so great. But now that Gen Con is back, and is back in a far different way, I want to take some time to kind of go over why I don't think Gen Con should be happening, and which leads into the reasons why I'm not going. And once again, this is not a video to try to deter anybody from going to Gen Con, but maybe I will say that it's a video to try to put something, maybe just kind of give you some information. I know a lot of people, it's a little too late to cancel, and to cancel your plans, your hotels, things like that, and your events, and all that. Fine. But my reason for not going, and the reason why I don't think Gen Con should happen, is one, Gen Con has stated, and they have not changed this since May, that the maximum amount of attendees in Gen Con is going to be 35,000 people a day. My question about this is, what constitutes being a Gen Con attendee? Now, obviously, in the years past, being a Gen Con attendee means you have a badge that you've paid for, whether it's a 4-day badge or a daily badge for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, because, in case you didn't know, Gen Con is a 4-day event, which I thought was weird they didn't change that this year. I thought they would have at least said, hey, let's kind of scale it back a day, and let's just make it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is one thing I think they should have done. Now, I'm also going to give you some things here in this video of what I think they should have done at Gen Con to maybe make it a lot more safe for people, which is why I don't think they should have had Thursday. I don't know of many people that go to Gen Con on Thursday. I don't think I've even ever been to Gen Con on Thursday myself, but I think they could have really scaled it back and made Gen Con a 3-day event. Secondly, Gen Con doesn't just happen at the Indiana Convention Center. For those who know that Gen Con has grown over the years exponentially since 2003, when the convention first came from Wisconsin. But Gen Con is not just at the Indiana Convention. This thing sprawls the entire landscape of downtown Indianapolis. We're talking the Marriott, the JW Marriott, the Westin. It even goes into Union Station. Yes, I've been to Union Station, and I've played a few games there before. It is a massive downtown event. There's food trucks all along Georgia Street, which happens to be in front of what I consider now the main entrance of the Indiana Convention Center. We're talking thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people all at once. However, Gen Con has stated that they are going to be putting this at a max of 35,000 people a day. Well, my thing is, what constitutes a Gen Con attendee? Well, I will tell you from my experience going to just about every convention in Indy, and also going to every Gen Con, is that the Indiana Convention Center is really accessible to people without a badge. I've never been to a single convention in downtown Indianapolis that didn't require you to show a badge to gain access to the inside of the convention center. Now, I will say that in order to go to places like the vendor halls or events or panels or things like that, yes, you are required to have a badge. Now, I will say that Gen Con has not been very transparent on the rules or what is and what does and does not constitute as an attendee. Now, I know some of you probably thinking, well, of course, if you have a badge, you're an attendee, but this is different because 35,000 people a day, what's that mean? Does that mean 35 people a day in the Indiana Convention Center? Does 35,000 people a day mean only 35,000 people wearing a badge are allowed in the convention center at a time, and then it's just we're going hog wild after that? I don't know. And I can't find a single place online, I've done the research because this is what I do, that has let me know what Gen Con constitutes that 35,000 a day maximum limit. Now, here's my other thing. How strictly enforced is that limit going to be? How are they going to count? When are they going to stop? Now, I've been to several shops during the pandemic, as I'm sure most of you have, and there's been places that will not let you go in until someone leaves. I've been there. A lot of people have been there. You have to wait outside in a line, and then you have to wait till people leave to let you in because of a COVID restriction limit to people who can be in a building at once. And it seems like Gen Con is enforcing this rule. Now, I don't know how many badges have been sold right now. They have not, as far as I know, in any press releases that I've received. I haven't seen any attendance numbers or how many badges have been sold. Nor have I seen them say, hey, like, we're almost going to sell out of badges, which I would think they would do. I don't know. Is it 35,000 a day? I mean, if it was 35,000 a day times 4, I can't really do the math in my head. That's definitely over 100,000 badges sold. So, who knows? How many 4-day badges are they selling? How many badges are they selling each individual day? Those are the questions that I can't find answers to, which I think should be transparent for Gen Con, because their responsibility is the safety of everybody during this pandemic. Which leads me into how I feel Gen Con is just really lacking on that whole safety thing. So Gen Con initially was going to require vaccinations, which I was like, hey, I think that's cool. I think it's good to have a vaccination mandate for the time being. I don't think this is a thing that should happen forever. And I know there's some people that are like, well, what about people who can't get vaccinated? I get that. Which is why I also think they should have paired up. Either you have to have a vaccine requirement, you're required to either have proof of having the vaccine or proof of having a negative test result for COVID within at least 48 hours upon arriving at the Indiana Convention Center. So if you're going for all 4 days, that means you have to have proof that you took a test at the very least before Wednesday to be able to come into the Indiana Convention and say, look, I have a negative test result, here it is. They have to have proof of that. Or just show your COVID vaccination card. It's that simple. They could have done that. Now, they were originally going to do a vaccine mandate, and that angered a lot of people. I do understand that to a degree, but they went from just masking up and a vaccine mandate to doing away with any sort of mandate whatsoever, and except for masks. Now, let's get to masking. I understand the masks work. I'm a believer of that. I have no problem wearing a mask. I've been doing this now for almost 2 years. I'm fine with it. I'm cool with wearing a mask. I know a lot of you guys out there aren't cool with wearing masks. That's a whole other story. This is not a political channel. I'm not going to get into that, but here's the deal. how is Gen Con going to be able to keep track of everybody wearing masks? Do they have enough volunteers? Do they have enough staff? How seriously are the people doing these jobs going to be when it comes to having to kick these people out of the convention? Because Gen Con has made it very, very clear that they are going to be enforcing the mask mandate rules in effect at Gen Con. Here's the other problem. If those rules only apply to the vendor halls, the panels, the game rooms, and any other places that normally only require you to have a badge, what's that say for the rest of the areas that are accessible from the street that you've never had to have a badge to get into? Which, what I mean by that is, the convention center sits in the middle of, or in between, Georgia Street and Maryland Street. It's right there on that corner. And every single convention I've ever been to, in the 15 plus years I've been going to conventions, I've never once had to have a badge to get into the Indiana Convention Center. So, are they going to be having staff at these doors checking badges and making people put their masks on? Because if they're not, it already doesn't matter. The mask mandate won't matter. Because this is why I want to know what 35,000 people actually means. And if I was there to cover the event, I would want to know that. And I've already been trying to ask people. I cannot get a solid answer out of anyone. So, if you actually know the answer to that, please put that in the comment section below, because I would really love to know the answer to that question. Furthermore, my other question is this. How sure are they going to be able to check these people for masks? What's the community going to do? You know, there's always a thing that says cosplay is not consent. And I'm a firm believer in that. I'm a very firm believer in the fact that the community should also try to help the convention enforce things. Now, I'm not saying that we should necessarily shame people or make a big scene and things like that, which I would almost bet that's going to happen. I will be very, very shocked if it doesn't. But who knows? Anything's possible. We've known that anything can happen for quite some time, unfortunately. So, my thing is, will the community help enforce this too without making it a big event or a big scene? So, my reasons for not going are really simple. I don't think that Indiana is ready for a 35,000 people a day convention. And the reason why I say Indiana is because, well, Indiana right now has the 15th highest death rate as of today for COVID. Not only that, but the numbers compared to last year's infection rates are about 10 times higher than they were last year. Mask or no mask, this is not good. This is not a good idea. And I'll tell you this too, I know a lot of the vendors, and I've spoken with a lot of the vendors that I've had to tell that I'm not going to be there, that wanted to set up interviews with me to try new games, things like that. I'm not going to say who these vendors are out of respect to their privacy, but I will say that some of the vendors I've spoken with, the majority of them, they also kind of feel the same, and they have told me, hey, I don't blame you for not going. Not just because my wife has COVID, or I don't have COVID, by the way. I tested negative again today after 2 weeks. But regardless of me being exposed to it or not, it's not about that. They also don't think that Gen Con should be happening right now. Yes, there are some major vendors that have told me they just don't feel that Gen Con should be happening, but they can't not attend because of contractual obligations. My other thing too is, how spaced out is the vendor hall going to be? How many people will be allowed in the vendor hall at a time? Is that where the 35,000 a day plays into? Another thing I want to talk about is eating. Gen Con has said the only time you're allowed to not have your mask on is when you're eating. Well, from my experience, how many people do you see sitting in the hallways, Gen Con, to do what? To eat. How many people are going to be allowed at the food court? Now, last time I was at the Indiana Convention Center was for PopCon. That was back in July. And they had a room that was one of the big ballroom-looking areas. Not like the Sagamore Ballroom upstairs, but, one of those smaller ballroom areas that people were going in to use as kind of like a relaxation place, a place to eat, like a food court type area, because last I saw in July, they were still trying to fix or make some renovations to their food court on the far end, the Maryland Street side, and I did not see the Georgia Street food court open. Now, I'll tell you something. As an experienced convention goer at the Indiana Convention Center, both those food courts tend to have a lot of people at them. Now, I'll tell you this. That's a lot of people without their masks on at one time. I know you're probably thinking, Brian, you're being extremely paranoid. But no, this is a serious thing that we should be taking seriously. And after seeing my wife have this for about 2 weeks, you don't want this. Vaccinated or not, you don't want this. And I think it's an extremely huge risk to have a convention of this scale. Not only that, a convention that's going to draw attendees from other parts of the country, not necessarily the world because, travel restrictions and things like that across borders. But I just don't think it is a good idea. And I know Gen Con said that they can't cancel because it would take a huge financial hit to them, but here's the thing. I'd rather see Gen Con take a financial hit than people losing loved ones all over wanting to game. And there is no game on this planet that's worth getting sick and possibly dying from. And let's face it, you're not making vaccinations mandatory, so how many people are coming unvaccinated? How many people do we know for sure don't have COVID already that are going to be there and possibly spread it? I don't want this to be a super spreader event, and that's why I won't be attending, because I just cannot. I have tried to find good reasons to go, and I thought, I said a few weeks ago, I have to go. It's my journalistic duty as a reviewer. I have to be there to review this con to make sure they're doing the right things. But even going and doing that is, to me, still very, very risky. I mean, I was going to run an Airbnb, and I don't want to get the people sick at my Airbnb. So, I don't know. But my thing is, this is not a video for me to deter you from going to Gen Con. I'm not going to judge people for going to Gen Con. If people want to go to Gen Con, by all means. I just want people to be safe. And I don't see how with 35,000 people a day, I mean, there's too many blurred lines for me to go and feel like I'm going to be safe and yet be responsible at the same time. So, anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Are you going? Are you not going? How do you feel about going or not going? What made you decide to go or decide to not go? Are you attending? Are you not attending? Let me know all those things in the comments section below. You already know what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do if you like this channel. Everybody else here on YouTube says the same thing. I'm not going to say it again. You already know what to do. Anyway, other than that, thank you so much for watching this video. Until the next time, I'll see you guys.